to WCEAN's Alumni Spotlight. Today we have Esme Badillo with class of 2020. You want to give us kind of a 30-second pitch real quick of what your business is and share a little bit about you?
Okay, so my name is Esme Badillo and I am class of 2020. And my company is Faro Disinfecting Services. The name of the company means lighthouse, is a word in Spanish. And we wanted to represent not just disinfecting, but bringing hope and, stability, because at Faro, or lighthouse, that's what it is. It's stable and it guides other people to safety. So that's what we wanted to represent with the logo. It's more than disinfecting services, but it's helping businesses and households beat this pandemic together. So that's why the name is like that.
Wonderful. And I can't wait for you to share your story about how this company came to be. But before we get there, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found the Wolff Center for Entrepreneurship?
Okay. So I've always been the kind of person that likes to create and then provide, create something innovative, provide value, and then make an impact. I was that person in high school that did everything and anything. I had an organization, leader of that, captain of this. So I knew I had to start my own business to be able to fulfill that craving of doing a lot of things. When I joined Bauer at U of H, I thought accounting was going to be the fit for me to have the foundation for a business. And then I found that I hated it.
Yeah.
And then I went through a crisis because I was like, I don't want to be miserable to be happy. That doesn't make sense to me. And I don't want to study any of the other majors because I felt like I was going to be stuck in a box. So I talked to my career advisor and she told me, we have the #1 entrepreneurship school in the nation here at UH, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't even know entrepreneurship could be a degree. But when she told me that, I joined Wolff 2017 and I was, I just found out, yes, I like this, vibe of doing everything and anything and just starting something from nothing. So yeah, the story goes on from there and I'm here.
And now you're a graduate. So
yeah.
What was your experience? So class of 2020, y'all went through some different things this last year, but what was your experience like in the Wolff Center?
So mine was a lot of self-discovery because, as you know, the Wolff Center focuses a lot also on your purpose, knowing your why. So I had to learn about myself, why I react certain ways in stressful situations, why I do things like that. And I think, I know entrepreneurship is painted as, this amazing, awesome thing where you're throwing money around, I don't know. But it's really a lot of learning how to deal with failure and difficulties and stress and, how to work with other people because it's not a lonely road. You're always going to work with other people. So it's learning a lot about yourself in order to be able to be that leader that needs to run a business. So I think Wolff Center helped me because they really push you with real life situations. It's not like this is what you should know about yourself, but it's like, this is what you should know. Now go and find out because you're going to be put in this stressful situation where you're just going to have to know it no matter what, just have to figure it out. So it was a lot of self-discovery in growth professionally and personally. So I love the program, changed my life. Yeah.
And so one of those you kind of reverted back to, and this is a conversation we had prior to this interview. You said the Berkman also helped you with this. Yeah. And what were some of those real life experiences? Give me some examples of those situations.
I think the IP project was a lot of discovery in terms of my personality because I just wanted to know the technicalities and the why. I tend to break things down and structurize it. And IP is a lot of learning the technicalities of things. And I really wanted to understand everything. And I remember I was the person in the team that would ask a lot of questions and just be like, okay, wait. We don't have to deal with this right now. We can just move on forward. So I learned about myself that sometimes maybe I put barriers in that area because I just want to know all the little details and be able to project and plan. But sometimes you just have to throw yourself out there and figure it out. Yeah. And also IP is it's a stressful project because there's a lot of pivots that you have to do throughout the learning process and how to pitch it and taking it out into the market. So I also learned about how to debrief, like take myself out of a situation and just kind of like, okay, think and then come back. And I mean, that's an example, but there's many. Wolff Fest that has a lot of them. So, but yeah.
And what was your life after graduation? I mean, did you feel like you even graduated?
I don't. I feel like I'm still living my own version of Wolff Fest. And yeah, especially with the pandemic, we didn't get to have Wolff Fest 2020. And then the graduation was virtual. So I felt like it was kind of like a continuation kind of slowly into this business. So it seems very gradual. I feel I'm still kind of absorbing whether I graduated or not. I think once the fall comes in and I don't have any classes, it's going to start to sink in a little more. But the chaos and the vibe of Wolff Center is still there. So, yeah.
So when did you start creating this company? I mean, how did it even start and come to be what it is today?
Yeah, so the pandemic, the quarantine here in the US started to hit around March. Mm-hmm. And I think my dad got laid off around April. So that's when everything kind of started to move. I know a lot of people were impacted by the quarantine, the pandemic. It was, there were some rough times there and a lot of uncertainty for a lot of companies and a lot of people. So my graduation was approaching and I was going to graduate into a world of low employment rates. And my dad just got laid off. So we're like, okay, what do? We had to do a lot of thinking and researching and figuring out what our next step was going to be, both, looking for jobs or starting something of our own. And because the economy didn't seem like it was going to be like one looking for, hiring a lot of people. So we decided to start something of our own.
Yeah. Okay. And so it's you, your dad. Is there anyone else in the picture? And
yes. So we partnered up with one of my dad's colleague or friend. He is an entrepreneur as well. He's had experience before with different businesses. So he's been a very good, mentor, and also his help with the capital. And I think it worked really well. The doors kind of opened up, and then Wolff Center has always been there also to back me up. And my dad had worked with our partner before in the remediation space. So we just kind of like everything kind of started to fall into place. So I think it was meant to be that we went into this route of disinfection in the way that we do it.
And so I love the story of how you and your dad worked together. So what is your role within the company, and how did you determine who takes what on within? So
my dad, he has an engineering background. So he's very technical. He had that experience with the ozone and the remediation space. So he kind of focuses more on the technicalities. He's been trained on how to use ozone. He studied all the different processes for testing the results and making sure that the process has been effective. So he's very technical, and he's taking like the bigger weight on that area. I also have to know all of that. So I also was trained by the GBAC, which is a Global Biorisk Association. So I think mostly though, my role is in the business strategy side of things. So that's where the Wolff Center comes in. And I'm doing marketing and strategizing and organizing and pitching and I guess everything and anything. But yeah.
And then I think at one point you were saying like you're like a co-founder, but there is no exact title, right? Like everything.
Yeah.
Right. So,
yeah. One day I'm like the director of marketing, and the other day I'm like the customer specialist. So I'm here. I keep switching hats here. Yeah.
And how do you stay organized wearing all these multiple hats as a startup in this company?
It's mostly a learning process, but for me, it's been implementing what I've used before to stay organized with the Wolff Center. So I brought Trello, the application in, so we can kind of have a virtual list of everything that we have to do and then assign it in tasks, categorize priorities, We also are we're starting to use a social media manager to also be able to do all the required postings and all of that, to be able to do other things. So it's a learning process, but implementing software and applications is very helpful. Very helpful.
Good. So what kind of pivots have you made along the way since the initial launch?
Since the initial launch, since we're a very fresh company, I think we launched officially in July. The main pivot that we've had is the advertising strategy, because we were pretty old school as we started, flyers, reaching out to people, network, and then, sending out, creating packets and triptychs. But we started to see that most, if not all, the customers we've gotten were through social media. So now we're switching the tactic more towards social media campaigns and trying to figure out, how to dig a little deeper into that. I think the way we're moving, especially now with quarantine and everything's digital, I think moving into the space of social media, it's, the smart choice, especially where we're going. And I'm hopeful. I think it's going to turn out really well if we keep digging into it. So
yeah, I know you'll do great. You already are, because I've been seeing you on social media and you're already recording, posting, requesting feedback.
Yeah.
And so this is a two-part question. So how has your WCE family helped you so far? And what can your WCE family do to help you further?
Yeah, so far, I'm so blessed. I love my class. So kind of one of my classmates from Wolff Center 2020, he worked with me during Wolff, so I knew his skills in marketing and creating logos and design. So he's helped me in that area. He also volunteered. Well, he was voluntold for modeling. I also have a friend who has also from the Wolff Center. She has her own restaurant, so she also allowed me to take pictures of the restaurant. And we disinfected everything as well. We put the sign, so it was great. I love the support that I'm getting. Also through social media, I'm getting a lot of support from my class. So I feel very blessed. And then the other question was, how can we help moving forward, right?
Yeah.
So I think for us, the biggest thing is gonna be helping us help others, because I find a lot of stories, and I think I'm gonna implement that in social media later, but people are going through some tough times. Like COVID has impacted a lot of families and a lot of businesses. So I think the main thing that would be helpful, not just for me, but for other people, is spreading the word. What we do is very thorough. We do ozone, so it takes up the whole space and it makes sure that things are disinfected. And we also go in and test prior and afterwards, so you can see the results with a hospital-grade equipment. So we make sure that the job that we're doing is right. So I think helping the businesses and helping the homes to have that sense of normalcy by taking care of the disinfection and making sure that they can provide a safe space for their customers, for their family members if they're high-risk family members. I think that's very important. So that area, that's not just helping me, but helping others. In other terms, I would appreciate if you have some QuickBook 101 tips, I would love them, or any tax reporting advice. Also with marketing strategy or media campaigns, if you have advice on how to approach them, budgeting and things like that, that's also very helpful. And then lastly, if they were to have someone has a office space or a testing space that we can utilize to keep doing our trials and try different products to make sure that we can provide an all-around component of disinfection, that would be great. We've been using it as parts of our home, but I think having a space where we can constantly use for testing, I think that would be very helpful.
Oh, good. So I'm curious, do you constantly test a certain area, like you said, in your home?
So it's not like, so at first when we were doing all the researching, we had to do a lot of testing, because you can go from what the provider says, the effectiveness, but we wanted to make sure that it was completely right. Everyone's gonna try to sell, this mine is the best. But we took it very seriously, because we're going into places where we are trying to provide a safe space for people, so we can just, say things for what they are. So we did a lot of testing in certain areas to try to see the effectiveness of the disinfection space. So and we'll continue to do that if we bring in different products, which we're thinking of, because technology, and there's a lot of innovation, a lot of products out there that we want to see which one would work best for specific clients. So testing will probably be a routine thing for our business.
Okay. And whenever you say specific clients, are you thinking, hospital versus the daycare, or what are those different areas?
Yeah. So there's what we do right now. It's for indoor spaces because it's a gas, so it has to be an enclosed space. But if it were to be an outdoor space, or if you were to have like a staircase or a rail, or maybe you just want a preventative measure. So there's different products that you can use for those things. We find ozone is the most all-around effective, solution. But if we can have something available for a client that has specific need, then we'll be glad to have that.
Okay. I love you talking very smart about this. So what is the biggest lesson you've taken out of WCE?
The biggest lesson, that's hard because you have a lot of lessons. I think the biggest one though is knowing your why. That's stuck with me because it's not about finding a job and then finding purpose within the job. I think it's the other way around. It's finding your purpose first and then applying it into whatever job you're doing. Whatever you find yourself, if you know your purpose, then you'll be happy, you'll be fulfilled. You know your why, you know why you're doing what you're doing. The other way around seems to be a very popular opinion, to find something and then make that your purpose. But I think it's a little bit incorrect. It's going in the right direction, but I think Wolff Center got it right. I think it's your purpose first, and then whatever you find yourself doing, then you'll be okay because you know your why.
And that's kind of how this started as well, because you wanted to help in some way, and you were trying to figure out what to do, right?
Yeah, that's right. We sat down because we could have started we had different ideas for different businesses to go for. But I remember sitting down with my dad, and he had the free time now, right? So he was thinking, maybe we could go to volunteer at hospitals or different places to help out, because during that time, there was a lot of fear and there was a lot of uncertainty, and people needed help. I remember some restaurants will go and donate food to hospitals. So it was a time of some people wanting to hide and some people wanting to help, and we were messing with those ideas as well, trying to figure out what we could do. So that's kind of how we started going towards disinfection as well, with the need of doing something purposeful during these times. So we can disinfect and make sure that we're doing it right, make sure that we're providing the value that we're saying that we're providing.
And let's see, what's the wisdom you want to impart to other entrepreneurs? Same thing, the why, or anything more?
The why for sure, but I think another important thing to remember as an entrepreneur is that you need to be able to push through disappointments. I think there's gonna be a lot of moments where you're gonna be like, it's not gonna turn out the way you want it, and you just have to keep pushing through. So people talk about you have to be a resilient entrepreneur, but I think that could be translated into you need to know how to deal with failure. As an entrepreneur, you just have to know how to deal with failure. There's no other way around. If you are gonna go into that space, then it's just gonna be a constant, oh, this didn't work, what else is gonna work? Oh, this didn't work, then you try this, try that. So that's a skill that you must learn to have. It's not impossible, you just have to accept and learn to have in order to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. I like it. Where can we continue to follow your story?
So you can continue following our Faro story, which is going to have the company story and other people's stories at Faro Now in Instagram and Faro Disinfecting Services on Facebook. And Twitter, we're starting on Twitter as well, and LinkedIn. So
Great. Well, thank you so much, Esme, Esmeralda, Esme.
Thank you, Jessica.